Now, as I mentioned just before the break, we had a text in a little bit earlier on about Newcastle proposing a badge change. And as you can imagine, that has led to debate from the Newcastle fans. They have announced that they want to upgrade it, to update it, but they want the supporters to be part of that evolution process. Season ticket holders and members will be invited to take part in a survey that allows them to say what should stay the same. A club statement said, "This isn't a decision we take lightly. We love our crest. It is iconic and has stood us through unforgettable triumphs and testing times, but it was created in a different era." And they say, as football in the world changes, so too must the symbol that unites us. The interesting thing about this, Cass, is why they want to change it. And if I can go back to my team, Brentford, when they changed their last badge, we introduced our newest badge, the badge now you see, in 2017. And the reason given was because it all comes down to digital. Right. They just did not work digitally because there was too much going on in our badge. So they had to simplify it. And that's probably, I imagine, part of the thinking with the Newcastle badge, because maybe there's just a little bit too much going on. So when you're trying to put it in papers or online, it just doesn't sometimes work. That's what the thinking was with the Brentford thing. And I'm just assuming that might be the similar situation with Newcastle. But I also remember at the time thinking, no, you can't change it. That's the badge. That's what so many of us have grown up or watched, and just... that's what we're used to, and it's that thing of traditional, and we don't like change, do we?
No, but you've changed.
Then you get used to it.
You've changed in your history 8 times.
Our badge,
Your badge.
Yeah, of course.
So, and I'm sure that's pretty much a common theme around the country, that teams have changed their badges at certain times. It's
of course.
It's not like it's always been one badge forever. Like Brentford have got to number 8, haven't you?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I can't.
I don't know how many Newcastle have had.
No, I know. I'm
sure they haven't just had one since the club existed. I'm sure they would have changed along the way.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I'm just seeing here on a website, but they had a coat of arms between 1969, 76, 76. 83 was a different badge. So, they've changed it a number of times. That's
exactly.
4,
so it's nothing really...
5. This is, I think they're not changed as many as my club, but I think it's about 4 or 5 this will be the change.
Yeah.
But it's very hard when you become so...
And it's an iconic one.
Used to something. Yeah, absolutely. And it's ingrained in everybody. Yeah. That's our badge. You can pick it out when they're... sometimes you have those quizzes where they take the names off and you just got to guess the badge. Newcastle fans straight away will know that's their badge. But as I say, there obviously is perhaps a technological reason as to why they think they need to simplify it or change it.
Yeah. My line is?
Oh, go on.
Change is inevitable, except from a vending machine.
Well,
the change happens a lot now.
I know, but some vending machines give change. Not all of them keep the money. That is if they accept money these days.
I just think you can get caught up, and yes, it's nostalgia and it's traditionalist. That's the word,
nostalgia.
Just think that, of course, iconic. I mean, I can't imagine the Liverpool cop badge and what that would be if it'd be done in a different way. But I'm sure that's changed a number of times over the years as well, like all badges.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm trying to think of Marseille's badge, which had droit à but on, which meant straight to goal. But I think that would have changed a good few times, even before, from the one, because I think that was a sort of 90s idea. But I think this is a common theme now, that badges are getting changed all the time.
No, I agree with you. We see it all the time. Every season there's one club that suggests they're going to have to change their badge for one reason or another. It'd be interesting to see what Newcastle fans think of it. Do they understand the change? And of course, what's really important, and I'm sure they're not the first, they won't be the last. Consulting your fans is the most important. You have to consult the fans and make sure that it is hopefully an overall consensus in agreement with what that badge will look like.
Yeah, it's a bit like, like you get a fan, you love that badge, you love a certain type of badge.
Absolutely.
You have certain shirts. Certain shirts you've had over the years, you go, I love that shirt.
Yeah.
What a great shirt that was. I remember playing in certain shirts, for clubs. I'm thinking that.
Absolutely. I mean, my first time of going to Brentford was, again, this is a bit niche because you got to know Brentford badges, but it was what basically was called the Castle badge. So, and it was a very simple look, it's a bit like a coat of arms, but it's got like the castle look at the top, if you like, with, I don't know, turrets. And it's very simple with a ball and very simple. Actually, probably would work today. But then we've gone through that evolution of changing, and now we've got to a B, which I remember at the time when it was first launched, a few people mocked it, and maybe still would be mocked because it's such a big B, but it's very simple and it works.
Yeah. Which was the Castle badge when you was in League Two? Was that one?
Cass, I'm going to show my age here, because this was before the Premier League and all, so, you know, we're talking Division 3, and then we went up to Division 1 during the change, shall we say, with the Premier League, etc. So I didn't appreciate that question. I'm old, all right? As I was telling my producer, Tony, you know, I went to my game in the 80s.
You're not old.
Well, I'm telling him I went to my first game in the 80s. He's like, the 80s? I know, I'm old. I'm sorry about that.
I played in the 80s and the 90s.
You are old, though.
Yeah, I am. And I feel it some days.
You're ancient,
I feel it now.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.